We're in.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we are, not drinking water this time.
No, welcome to the Backyard Road Trips. I'm Jim.
I'm Zack.
And Zack, I'd say a favorite Connecticut pastime is dogging on Connecticut. Would you agree?
Oh, that's my whole thesis of my first book.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
that's true,
I was like, there's, so many times I heard that there was nothing in to do in the state.
Yeah.
And that Connecticut is solely a rest stop between New York and Boston.
So you agree with this sentiment? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Today, that is
Yep.
not the topic of our podcast or our episode.
And we're no longer in Connecticut. Con-necticut. Where are we?
We're in Pronecticut.
Pro-necticut.
That is very clever.
Thank you.
But I really like that.
Because at first I was like, we could do a pro and Con-necticut, but screw the cons. We're in the
We're pro Connecticut today. Yeah.
pro. Yep.
So I want to talk about the cool and unexpected things that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And if I were to tell you, if I was going to describe a state that had sand dunes and wild parrots and redwoods and sequoias, would you think I was talking about Connecticut?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Of course not. No, but that's some of the cool things that I've learned recently that Connecticut has, and I thought that was really interesting. And so we're going to talk about that and more. And there's no better way to do that than by drinking some Connecticut-made beer, thanks to Zack, right?
Do you want to tell us a little bit about why this is here? Like, you had a little powwow session with grandfather Tim.
Yeah, our friend, our great friend Tim.
Yep.
So Tim had come over recently to my house, and we were smoking cigars and drinking whiskey, and he was giving us some podcasts.
Because he doesn't drink any beer anymore.
He's not. He's kind of off the beer.
Yeah.
He gets the gut rot.
Mm-hmm.
So he thought he was giving us some great ideas for episodes.
Yeah.
And one of them was Stop and Shop beer.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Which is an oxymoron, unfortunately, because Stop and Shop doesn't sell beer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. They had that agreement. So it had to be technically Big Y. Right?
Big Y beer.
But Big Y's got a great selection, and you said you were able to find all Connecticut.
My socks were blown off. Or knocked off. I guess not even knocked off. Blown off my socks. Yeah, so I went to Big Y today, and I knew they had the 6-pack, and I've been there before, and I was thinking maybe a couple, kind of cool things in totally serviceable beer. I was thinking of serviceable beers like a Sam Adams, maybe even a Two Roads, maybe a Thomas Hooker. I went there, and I put together, I was overwhelmed, first of all. By the time my mother did all her shopping, I was still looking at the beer. Beer thing. Yeah. Like, for
really
real.
deliberating, huh?
I was. Because at first I grabbed a Stone IPA, I grabbed this and that. I was like, I noticed that 4 out of the 6 beers were all Connecticut beers. So I said, screw that. I just need to go all Connecticut on this. So I did, and talked about our topic, Pronecticut, not Con-necticut. And I did a Lucky 7 instead of a 6-pack, kind of a baker's dozen, baker's half dozen. And super excited about what I found, because I believe it's like $2 a can.
That's not bad at all.
If you go to a specialty beer shop, you're finding a lot of these. I would say $5 for a lot of these cans.
Wow.
I mean, not to give all of them away, but the first one we're drinking is Fuzzy Baby Ducks. Do you know anything about this?
No, I don't.
Do you know New England Brewing Company? Sea-Hag is there, right? Remember they had G-Bot, which used to be gone, E-Bot. So that was very sought after. But Fuzzy Baby Ducks was always their, like, super rare, hard to find one.
Oh, really?
Like, people went nutty over it a few, not that long ago. And now you're finding this
at a Big Y.
In the Big Y, in the mixed pack section. Another one in here is, Beard is in there.
What? Really?
Counterweight Headway IPA, which I think is a really solid IPA from Connecticut. Fat Orange Cat. Is in there.
Yep.
Abomination, I never heard of. I got that. It's from North Haven. And also, I got a Barn, which I'd never heard of, from Groton.
Oh, okay.
And
I've heard of them too. Yeah.
I'd never heard of them before. And then the last one I got was something in there. No, that's a Barn. That's Beard. That's Abomination. That's the
Headway. It's gonna be the last one.
Yep. No, right there. Oh, Tox.
Oh, I tried
Tox
in New London.
Tox is super good. So
you recommended me their Oktoberfest.
Their Oktoberfest. I had a new Tox the other day that my dad has. A table beer. Connecticut table beer.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
So what's the difference between a table beer and a sour and a saison?
I wouldn't know the difference between a table beer and like a chair beer was. If you're made out of wood, probably.
Toilet beer.
That's porcelain.
I've had some of those.
Toilet beers, yes. So, yes, super impressed. Like all those alone should be more than $2 for.
Great.
If you went to a specialty store, you're going to pay a lot more than that.
So you haven't had this one in a long time then? Or?
I actually had it not too long ago. But I was like, it's one of the...
It's here. I'm going to have it. Yep. Well, thanks for getting them, man.
Of
This
course.
is great.
Yeah.
All right. So Pro-Connecticut.
So you had all these different things about trees that you were talking
Trees. It started with trees. I'll tell you the story. Is I was going to get my brother a birthday gift.
Yeah.
I wanted to get him something really unique, really special, and he's been interested in trees lately, identifying trees.
Interested?
He's been interested. You're very good with the puns on the fly. It should be on your LinkedIn profile.
There you go.
I think it's
is,
under skills. Yeah. So he bought a house a year or so ago, and I thought I'm gonna get him a tree, but I want to get him something kind of rare. And I started thinking like, well, what's a tree that can grow in Connecticut but isn't usually found in Connecticut? Connecticut College has a database of notable trees in Connecticut. Some that are historic, some that are just huge, things like that, and you can also list by species. And I was like, I'm gonna go through and see what's actually growing here. And I was shocked to find redwoods and sequoias.
That's unbelievable.
Would you ever think that there'd be a redwood in Connecticut?
And on the UConn campus, you said?
On the UConn campus, there is a redwood and a sequoia.
So every day you see it?
I didn't see the sequoia. I don't see that every day. But the redwood, 10 years I've been seeing it.
Wow.
I didn't know that. But
Jeez.
Yeah, so I got him a redwood tree.
That's so cool.
Yep.
No, not a giant redwood.
It's called the Dawn redwood.
Okay.
Yeah. They won't. Neither the Dawn redwood or the sequoia will grow super high in Connecticut. They don't know how high they grow, but they know. I mean, we don't have Northern California's climate.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
We have a much shorter growing season, so the Dawn redwood was thought to be extinct until 1941, which is what I learned from this website, and they rediscovered it, and then they tried to repopulate it in the United States. It was indigenous here about 10 million years ago.
Not too long ago,
It is, I think, technically a native plant.
Yeah. It's not invasive.
But it's not invasive, but they are actually making a big effort to try and replant them because it's considered endangered.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool. And so on this website for notable trees, you can find where some of these sequoias or redwoods or other things. There's one guy who's successfully growing a palm tree.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
Yeah. They shouldn't grow in Connecticut, but he got a really hardy one, and he's just been conditioning it so it could be outside all the time.
I think in Plymouth there's 2 palm trees.
It's crazy.
At a cabbie shack, which is like a beach bar.
I've been hearing about companies that rent palm trees in the summer, and then they take them back. But are they there in the winter?
I don't know the answer to that. That's a really good question. I mean, I go by that a lot. How do I not? But I will.
How do you recognize a tree?
Homework. Yeah, they definitely have. I bet you that's it. I bet you they don't.
Yeah, they rent it.
They probably rent it. So
yeah, it seems like it's a new popular trend.
Rent a tree.
Rent a palm tree. I think that's literally the name of the website. I kind of stumbled down that rabbit hole, but
great to live in a time period where now you can rent a palm tree.
I know we should just do it for our house.
Yeah, definitely next to the redwood.
Yeah, right. So I don't know that was pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
I found out that also, I mean, I think it's interesting to me and probably some history buffs, but that there are saplings from the original charter oak.
Okay, because the original charter oak's gone.
Yeah. But one of the saplings is in Wyndham. And so I want to make it, I want to get down there and get some acorns and see if I can grow, a grandson of the charter oak. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be really cool.
I don't know. It's lame, but it's cool.
Or just uproot that when no one's looking, and then
I think
you'll be all set.
Pretty enormous by now.
Oh, yeah.
It was a sapling, in like the 1700s.
Oh,
but,
okay. Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah, get some acorns from it. That's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, that was one of my first cool things. Yeah. Connecticut has redwoods and sequoias. Yeah.
I know a couple of some fun tree things.
All right, lay it on us.
A couple of them, the Pinchot sycamore.
Tell me about it.
It's just one of the largest, unless was this one of those cut down recently? I'm not even sure.
Oh, that'd be
Let me do a quick thing.
Yeah.
But I'm named after Bronson Pinchot, as in bulky from.
I'm gonna say that.
No, I think it's what's it? Gifford Pinchot, who's like the conservationist, whatever, somebody that was appointed. Whose presidency? I don't know. TR, Lincoln, somebody. Who am I looking up? I'm looking up the Pinchot, the pin. Yeah, this is it's still here. Okay.
Nice.
It is still, the largest tree in Connecticut.
Wow.
Is a American sycamore, the largest in Connecticut. And you can see how many people it takes to go around it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep. It's a big tree.
Where is it? It's got to be in
Simsbury.
Fairfield. Oh, Simsbury.
Simsbury, yeah. So above Hartford. Yep. That was a cool one. Also, two that aren't there anymore. One was the Jesus tree.
What is this?
The Jesus tree was in Danbury, and it was on a road that takes you from New York into Danbury. So Joe's something road. And it in the right light, it looked like Jesus on a cross.
Wow.
Basically, was this tree. So, or there was a thing of like little trees looking like the disciples was another thing they said. So that was it. It was either struck by lightning or it's gone.
Oh, bummer.
Other thing, another gone tree was the kind of a controversy with the Lincoln oak.
I don't know the Lincoln oak.
The Lincoln oak, I believe there was a time capsule in it, but it was in the green in New Haven.
Okay.
With Hurricane Sandy, it got toppled, and in the roots, and on like the base of it, came out human remains.
Ooh.
And what it is that green in New Haven is all burial ground that they just took all the stones off to make the town green.
Really?
And they put the stones like in a different cemetery. I don't know if it was like Evergreen or one of the other ones, but yeah, all of it's there. So when Hurricane Sandy, the roots were so deep that
ripped up bodies.
Yeah, ripped out the.
Oh man, imagine you're enjoying your time in heaven. And suddenly back up.
Hurricane Sandy. So yeah, so that's
crazy.
So you actually, one neat thing about Connecticut.
Yeah.
So we were talking last episode about music. So Ryan Adams.
Yeah.
I saw him at the Palace Theater in Waterbury.
I played at the Palace Theater.
Did you really?
I opened for Phil Vassar at the Palace Theater.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
It's
cool.
a beautiful spot.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
All right, Ryan Adams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just meant the actual venue itself.
Oh.
It was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I mean, marble inside.
Super. Yeah, it looks like a really nice, big, huge theater, right?
Yeah. I was learning a little about the history. So Tony Bennett, rest in peace, played the last show at the...
Get out of here.
Well, at the Palace in its original run.
Wow.
In like the 70s or early 80s.
Wow.
And it was getting total disrepair.
Yep.
Closed for 15 years. And then I guess it was sold eminent domain to the town. And they rehabbed it and opened up in 2004, I think, with Tony Bennett reopening it.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
cool. Wow.
But I mean, I was just blown away. I mean, Waterbury, my only experience with Waterbury, and like this is a Pro-necticut, this is not a Con-necticut.
Yep.
But I did a book reading at Waterbury Library, one of the weirdest readings I've ever done.
Yeah.
Some really cool buildings, like a train station there, like Italianate design, the tower, everything. I'd been to Holy Land, a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Which is in Waterbury, but in the neighborhood. But my only time downtown Waterbury, doing this book reading, and talk about like some gigs are weirder than others and so forth. But this one, I was expecting. I was like, Waterbury's a city. This could be attracting some people. But you never know what it's going to be like. So I get there. There was an impending storm too. So I was like, which was bad. Snowstorm. So Saturday afternoon, they had no room for me to do a reading. So they had me do it in the middle of like where people are on their computer.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. So I'm reading just like out of my book. There's two people that are there for me, and the rest of the people are trying to like go on the internet. And like, it was odd. It was not one of my favorite gigs. But I remember
This is going to be a pro story.
This is just saying that wasn't my best impression of Waterbury. And then for this one, that strip where the Palace Theater's on now, Yukon, Waterbury's across the street. Like, it was really, like, it was a nice block.
Beautiful.
So that's what I was saying. So I was, happily surprised at this area where the show was and the venue itself.
Speaking of cool music venues, I always knew about like the Shabu Inn.
Yeah.
But I never knew the history of it. And it seems like, man, we really missed our time with it. But like,
we weren't around for the Shabu.
No, but like how many huge famous acts came through there? The Cars and Aerosmith today. I think I read about how Aerosmith's first performance of Dream On was in Willimantic.
Really?
At the Shabu stage.
Well, actually, one of my father's friends, he was telling me yesterday, he was listening to the Cars on the way to the baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I told you about the Shabu story that, so-and-so was going to go. And he said, I don't think I'm going to go. He had two free tickets for this show. Ended up being the Cars.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't go.
Oh, man, that stinks.
My mother didn't go see Jimi Hendrix when he played at Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I want to say it was either the Doors or Janis Joplin, too, or somewhere.
Wow.
So what else do you have about Connecticut that...
The sand dunes, natural sand dunes.
Where are those?
One's in Bloomfield and the other
is... It's not even on the ocean.
I know. It's,
wow.
I think it's called Mattianic Preserve or something. Nature Preserve. But, and then there's Lake Hitchcock.
Wow.
Which is actually the glacial lake that it was all came from. But it was a long time ago. The glacial lake had melted, or I think it stretched from the Connecticut River Valley to Vermont. So it's like a long, long time ago.
Connecticut River Valley is cool, too. All those tobacco sheds, the shade tobacco that you can still see there. And the drying
that was a
sheds.
thing that we have for Connecticut. That for a long time, Cubans were rolled with broadleaf in Connecticut.
Exactly.
Got that one.
Pretty cool, yeah.
No one knows
Another
that.
thing that's like just this random little, Connecticut, and you go to the valley today, and you see up in the Enfield region and stuff like that.
They're so pretty.
Very pretty. Yeah, you go in the fall. I mean, it's really, really quite something.
Anyway, the cool thing about this sand dune is it's such a rare like ecosystem, particularly for the region, that there was insects and animals that are only found there in this tiny little section of Bloomfield. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so apparently it was going to be turned into a prison until they found like a trapdoor spider or something like that.
Okay.
Like, this thing's endangered. You can't build here because you can't destroy its habitat. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty well preserved also because it sounds like it's a real pain to sort of get to. Mm-hmm. But it's on my list of things to go check out. It's hard to travel with Teddy to something like that. But,
right.
Because it's a long drive and it involves a hike and there's no playgrounds there. But,
yeah.
But anyway, I think that's really cool.
He doesn't like the natural sand dunes?
We haven't tried it yet. We're going to try, but maybe he'd like to play. Maybe we'll make him bring a sandbox and tell him to go catch some tiger beetles and squash them. Get arrested.
Also kind of cool, we're talking about the Palace Theater, but like the rehabilitation of buildings, beautiful buildings that they're saving, which I think is
cool.
Historic preservation.
Yeah. Dane Rue would be pretty happy.
Dane Rue would be very happy with that. Speaking of that, Norwich is finally doing something with the falls. They're making a park. So
wasn't it already a park?
Yeah, but with viewing areas and bathrooms and like a whole like a thing. You know what I mean? More like an experience rather than like, all right, this is beautiful waterfall that's hidden.
Yeah, here's the thing.
It's amazing. I mean, it's just a super cool spot, but it still has that aura of like, all right, people are going to go here to, get high. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
now that drugs are legal, you don't have to go ruin these spots. Just go do it anywhere.
Right, go do it. So that's kind of one thing. But the preservation, like the Fairfield Hill State Hospital.
Yep.
There's a brewery in there now called New Asylum. I haven't been there yet.
Oh, that's clever.
I'd like to go check that out. Kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
And again, not all of them make it, but
I heard the Seaside State Park is going to get. They just got like a big grant from the state to get rehabilitated and.
The buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool, the rehabilitation, I feel like, of some of the buildings. The old Elks Club in downtown Norwich is becoming a hotel.
Really? Where was the Elks Club?
Across from the old YMCA, which is also being rehabbed into apartments, a business, and a brew pub.
Nice. Wow, so, brew pub.
Brew pub there, too.
Boy, they're really revitalizing the downtown area.
Yeah, which is
That's cool.
That's great.
Yep.
So, we have a special guest for the second part of this episode. Grampy, Ken Lamothe.
Yes, I was told by my grandson that I had to go and participate and have a beer. Who am I to argue?
That's right.
It really twisted your arm.
So you have the barn brewing now that we're drinking too right now.
Yeah, not bad.
So we're talking about, as we drink our beers,
Pronecticut.
Pronecticut.
Not Connecticut.
So far we've mentioned neat trees that Jim was telling us about.
Redwoods and sequoias. Did you know there's any redwoods and sequoias in Connecticut?
I overheard your conversation, and I did not know.
See? Now you know.
Yeah,
doesn't that make Connecticut a little cooler to you?
I like the fact that we have both deciduous and evergreens, and
a redwood is both.
It is?
Yes. It is a deciduous conifer.
It turns?
Yeah. In the fall, it'll turn red, and then it'll drop its leaves and grow them back.
I've learned something today. I didn't expect that I would learn something today.
Well, so we talked about that. We talked about some glacial sand dunes. You must know some cool rarity things for Connecticut, or it's in Connecticut.
I am a Pronecticut sort of guy and have been for years and years and years. I also love the fact that although it gets hot in the summer, it's not overly hot.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets cold in the winter and snowy, that's fine. It doesn't get overly cold and snowy. I like the temperature in Connecticut.
I like it too. Yeah,
I'm just a big fan. I loved visiting many states, and I've been to Southwest and the Northwest, and I've enjoyed every state. But it's not New England. I'm a New England fan. I'm a Connecticut fan. I'm an Eastern Connecticut fan. I'm a Southeastern Connecticut fan. Can't help it. I like the people in Connecticut.
That John Rowland, what a guy.
You know what? He is a guy. I'm going to give you my John Rowland story.
Okay.
I was driving to West Hartford, and I almost hit him with my car.
Is he a conifer also?
He's just a con.
Yeah.
Is he an ex-con yet? Or is he
that was good. That was good. Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah.
Almost hit him with my car. He's walking his dogs, and like years later, I saw him at a concert at Mohegan Sun. I said, Mr. Rowland, you're not going to know who I am, but I almost hit you with my car in West Hartford, and I just wanted to apologize in person. He said, I think a lot of people would have thanked you if you got me.
Fat Orange Cat. All cats are in the closet, I think it's called.
Excellent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is excellent.
All cats. Pardon my French, but shit all over my T-shirts in the closet.
It's a little your fault.
Yeah, I'm sure I was one getting a T-shirt, and the cat jumped in the closet. And
Stay there.
Yeah. I thought you'd like this. Have you had Fat Orange Cat before?
I have, but I haven't had this. This is maybe one of the best beers I've had all summer.
I like that beer a lot.
Heavy on the vanilla.
Yeah, it is
vanilla?
very. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's vanilla stout.
Yeah. Oh, goes beautifully. Vanilla white stout.
I've had
incredible.
2 other golden stouts. No, maybe I don't know if stouts or porters, whatever the heck they were. One was from Stone, I think, had a stout that was
Stone did all
yellow.
stouts well.
Yeah, and then I had, it was called like Golden Joe or something Joe from Stony Creek.
Mm-hmm.
That was yellow, which I thought was pretty good. And then one of my favorites is a coffee porter called Mr. Breeze. I think it's coffee porter. No, it's a coffee pale ale. So it's not even supposed to be a stout, but it has that coffee taste, and it's yellow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
So you tell me about these parrots, by the way, in Connecticut.
The wild parrots, they're monk parakeets, and they got here about 50 years ago. No one really knows how.
That
Probably,
Charles Darwin, he
got a lot wrong.
yeah.
He was going for Galapagos Islands, but missed.
Ended up in the Thimble
In
Islands.
the Thimble Islands.
Yeah.
Block Island.
Yeah, that's Rhode Island. See?
I know very little about them. I mean, did you know? I mean, you've been to Fairfield way more than I have. Have you encountered any of them or seen them?
Maybe they live with the melonheads.
Are they? They're not in Fairfield.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the Melonheads are like in Middletown.
Trumbull to
Trumbull.
Dracula Drive. What's it? We went on. We actually went Shelton. It's supposed to be Shelton, Trumbull, Fairfield. The whole region has their melonhead variation. Some are watermelon, some are honeydew heads, and some
occasionally a cassava.
Right.
Why don't you tell the listeners what a melonhead, the floor?
Yes, please tell us what a melonhead is.
So the idea is that
it's not just me.
Wasn't that a band when you were a youth?
Right, Evan Dando. So they are supposed inbred folks living in the woods, because Fairfield County really has a lot of deep woods. So,
yeah, right.
But to be, for all its credit, I had a reading in. You guys were in the car. This was before kids. Jackie was there. It might have been. It was.
Did it allow us in the reading?
I think it was Trumbull. And there was one of it's called Velvet Road. It's in Trumbull or Shelton, one of those towns out that way, Monroe, something like that. And I was like, okay, let's go check out this Velvet Road, so where the Melonheads live in that variation of the story. Got deep.
You guys sit in the car and meet the Melonheads when they come.
Right. It got deep and dark quickly.
Really?
That road. Yeah. It was really, it was a good road for a story like that.
Like Hell Hollow Road.
Yes. Yes. But Voluntown's more of a area.
That makes a little more sense.
For that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when I saw that light out of the sky in Voluntown.
Yeah.
Sterling.
That's the guy.
Good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's the horse creature.
The horse creature. You mocked the horse creature. I saw a horse creature.
I know you did. That's him right there. Right? It's the horse creature. How about the Salem Airport? What is going on with that?
This is a very small thing. This is not something that anyone else would really be proud of. But there was an airport in Salem for a while that was first used as a training area for pilots out of World War II to teach them how to become commercial pilots. And it was Katie's grandfather who ran it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I thought I didn't think that there was an airport in Salem.
No.
And I certainly didn't think it had like World War II ties.
Right.
Wow. It ran up until like the 50s or so. And there was like a diner there. And it's where the RC park is for like for radio controlled airplanes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they keep like a runway and everything for it. It's right off of 82. Yeah. So if you just kind of keep going down. Yeah.
Remember Fife's ice cream in Salem?
No.
You should ask Katie about that. We used to go there all the
Fife's,
time.
Huh?
Yeah. Fife's. Fiffs.
Yeah.
It was like fireman's favorite ice cream fun.
Are you making this up?
No.
Is this real? Okay.
It's right in that strip mall. There's a bar there that has
they
good
probably
beer.
ran out of town.
It was excellent ice cream.
It was.
Because Salem ice cream was open then too.
I like Fife's better.
Really?
They had a tiramisu and a Kahlua ice cream.
Oh, they had
Kahlua
like
ice cream
9 different coffee ice creams.
Yeah, it was so good. The waffle cone. This was middle school, like 97.
Plus the owner was really eccentric.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean?
He was yeah.
Like, did he mouth kiss all the customers?
He was just kind of like old and grumpy.
Yeah. He couldn't really walk. He was just sat down.
And that was sort of like me.
Yeah.
Old, grumpy, and immobile. Very good. I'll have a beer.
You want that? We have a pale ale over here.
Oh, this is fine.
Okay.
Other favorite things of Connecticut,
I thought of
boys.
another thing happened in Salem.
All right.
This was a few years ago. I was at the Salem Apple Fest.
Oh, yeah, I know the story. This is a cute
and I waited in line because I'm a very patient man for the apple fritters. Because the line at the apple fritter line is very long.
Okay.
And that's a really cool little event, the Apple Festival in
is.
Salem. That's something that should be. Last Saturday of the month in October, I'm butting in for 1 minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
plug it.
It is just like, it's such a small town New England event. It's run by the church. It's at the church and town hall, little, municipal area. And there might be some, John Hyatt cover band playing and, maybe have a little apple on me. So not to pour some sugar on me, but have a little faith in me. So and then
Plus, I can tell my story.
yeah, that's what I'm segueing.
You're adult Danny.
I'm an
That's
adult.
what's happening.
You're right.
Yeah. You cut off a story to.
That's fine.
Fair enough.
But I was sitting there with my little bag of apple fritters. And I was going to give some to Zack and Linda and the whole gang. So I'm sitting on the steps of the church right next to the
town hall. There.
And who should walk by?
Rob Levine.
No. Jackie Robinson's widow, Rachel Robinson.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "Afternoon, Mrs. Robinson." And she says, "Afternoon to you." And she was much younger than that. She was, I think, 99.
You should have said, "Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson."
Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you. Cuckoo,
Mr. Donahue. Mr. Donahue.
Rachel Robinson is one of my heroes. It was really cool.
Wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, and you can't do that in Salem, Oregon.
Do you ever watch the Gilmore Girls?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have watched
It's a great program.
It's
a great program. And I feel like they capture Connecticut so well, even though it's a soundstage and whatever, just because there's quirkiness to it.
Yes.
And there's things you just wouldn't think that are there. And when you think of Connecticut, you think of Gold Coast Rich.
Yes. You do. And
and you think of, the 95 to 91 to 84 to other 91 corridor of billboards and,
what gets you through this miserable state and get out of it.
And
you
enter New Haven and it stinks.
Yeah.
You literally enter New Haven and there's a smell. Okay. If I ever smell, I don't know what exactly that smell is. It smells like New Haven.
Grime.
Because it has that, and I think it's something, I don't know what.
One of my favorite Nirvana songs.
Smells like New Haven.
Smells like New Haven, yeah.
And it's just interesting that's, but then you said, again, as I said in Connecticut lore, 10 years ago, believe it or not, 10-year anniversary, I'll be doing the extended version, will be the
good
bonus,
the director's cut.
Director's cut, Criterion Collection.
Yeah. Good.
And just that there's.
With extra features.
Right, that's right. There's so much there that you just need to dig a little bit for.
I think you're so spot on.
Getting off that highway.
Yeah, the average person thinks of Connecticut and they think of Fairfield County.
Yeah,
Mohegan Sun.
That's just a teeny bit. Yeah,
yeah, but and so much more than that.
There really is.
Where's the best pizza in the world from? Absolutely. Someplace in New Haven.
Yeah.
And where's the only place to get a real lobster roll? Southeastern Connecticut.
Hot. Your word for
hot. Lobsters. Gotta have them hot.
Yeah, not cold lobster.
People eat cold lobsters, sort of thing?
It's the Maine do cold lobsters.
Maine?
Yeah, Maine. It's the Maine versus...
And
we're better than Maine.
And there's some mighty fine cold lobster rolls in
Europe and
South Shore.
But the idea is that it's the Maine style lobster versus the Connecticut style lobster roll. Those are the two. Yeah, the Connecticut style is the hot lobster roll.
What else can you do in Connecticut that you don't get anywhere else in New England?
You can get Mario or get Carter.
You can get Carter. Brookoff Law Group. Blah, 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 log blog.
And you can get John Heyman.
Right.
And the, what's the other one?
Carter Mario.
That's a Get Carter. Carter Mario.
But the other one, 999-9999.
Is that the Cabs?
What's his name? Trantolo and Trantolo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a pretty good pale ale. I think the Beard one.
I'll go for it. Oh, yeah. I just had it.
The Beard.
I was just saving.
Beard has, if you ever see, they have a Halloween beer. It's really good. And it's not fall seasoned.
Oh,
it's just a good, it's like a.
All right, man. I got to keep going back to this.
Keep going with it. I'm going to open this as, look at this label. Wandering into the fog. Ooh. Abomination. I never heard of them.
Abomination.
So have you heard about the 12% Beer Project?
No.
So they either brew, distribute, or a little bit of both for a lot of these Connecticut breweries.
Nice.
Including Abomination, Stargazer. So if you see North Haven on the can, Fat Orange Cat is with them now. They don't do their own because, people were having their kids throw rocks at their chickens and letting their cats, go to the bathroom in the closet.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
You're ruining the beer for everybody else.
Yeah.
You mongrels.
So they had to close. And but
did they really?
Yeah, so they brew.
Wow.
So they brew at this place in North Haven, but it's like they're kind of subverting the distribution and they're doing their own. And so it's kind of cool. But this is one of the ones that I saw in North Haven. It says distributed by 12%. So, so not 12% alcohol.
Oh, I see.
It's called 12%.
I see.
This is the beer. Yeah, that would be. No, this is not 12%.
No, that would be 12%.
Oh, it is. It is a high. It's 8.6 though.
Yeah, that's
Abomination.
And one more. I mean, any fool knows that the best pizza in the world is from New Haven.
Yep.
Any fool knows that the only way to have a lobster roll is a hot lobster roll from southeastern Connecticut. And you know what? The local beers ain't bad either.
No,
that's right.
I mean, going through here, this would subvert the specialty package, the specialty beer store. Big Y is, it's a really good beer selection.
That's right. Yeah.
And
this is better than the big guns you'd get.
And they had
Sam Adams.
Oh, yeah. And they had all different kinds. Like, I was going to get you a Life on Marzen from Berkshire Brewing, but I was like, that's not
introduced none of those
Rosemary,
yahoos.
Right. Rosemary.
Are fun. Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby you've had before. Yep. But there were so many different ones that I was really.
It's funny because I've noticed that Big Y, it's marginal shopping. Like some days you'll go for fresh herbs, and some days the basil is nice and full and plump. And then the next week,
I'll finish it.
It's a scrawny, scungy little stick. The same way with the beer. Sometimes their beer is dazzling, as obviously it was today. And sometimes,
I'm going to miss.
One thing Jackie wanted to bring up, too, when I told her about this topic, was the stone walls.
Okay.
She loves just driving, even you're on 395. You're driving down the road. You just look, and there's stone wall after stone wall, just like into the woods, into the landscape.
That's all of New England, though, isn't it? Robert Frost wrote poems.
Right. I'm sure it's not just here, but it's. Yeah. We don't have it in the South Shore. Really.
You don't, huh?
Not like that.
No, you got to have the woods.
Because Connecticut's
got a lot of rock, too.
It sure does.
So, you got to.
Sure does.
Like, have you been to Glacial Park in Ledyard? It's the bowl, the ice age, the whatever the glacier went through. It is like a sea of rocks, like big boulders are just left behind. It's really cool.
And they have spawned the Barns of Gunjiwon. That
was maybe the best band that I saw.
They were very
Barns
good.
of Gunjiwon.
Yeah, I'd like to go see them. They play up in my area for the Renaissance Fair.
That's cool.
Yeah,
really?
They play at
neat.
I told Craig last year. I found out after the fact that he played. I said, "Let me know." So hopefully he'll let me know.
I was very.
Yeah. But the stone walls, I feel like in a lot of areas, like where I am, they probably got rid of the stone walls to put in subdivisions.
Development.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Connecticut has a very interesting distinction of keeping these time periods and not a full, not everywhere, but not a full urban renewal campaign.
Right. As I've said to you before, the renewal of appreciating our past, this country's past, our state's past, is relatively recent. 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Because there was a spell before that where it's like, tear everything down, build everything new up, and it had some pretty ugly buildings that were...
Right, but Connecticut's escaped a lot of it, at least in our area.
No, they have.
Because if you look at 169 versus Route 12, 169 is your classic New England 1700s road, and you have the churches, you have the the graveyards around the church. You've got your
Cruise,
Grange.
Crandall.
You've got your historic, your 1700s homes. 5 miles down the road or less, you got Route 12, which was, not the road itself, but that corridor is created because of the river and because of the industry.
Absolutely.
So you have the old factories that are there. And even though a lot of them are in disrepair, but Panema has been completely revitalized in an amazing way. But you have that, and unfortunately, you have some towns that have fallen on hard times when the mill is closed and are still like that today. But that's a trace of history.
Sure.
So you have both of these, where most places, like you take Plymouth, where I live, for instance, arguably the oldest town, at least as far as European Americans go in the region, right, 1620. But with it, because there was always, you're reinventing the wheel. So you had your Pilgrim area. Well, those, of course, were not, sturdy, not super sturdy homes. So you built your homes in the same in the 1700s. But then from there, well, there are all these streets, but we want to use these streets now to make something new and modern in the 60s or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So they're reinventing the same area and knocking around history and demolishing it. Where I feel like this area of Connecticut, at least the eastern part, you have the delineation of different time periods. 169 was not touched. I mean, it was touched by industry in small scales. You might have had a grist mill or a sawmill or whatever that might be, but it wasn't hurting the essence of the town that was there. Like, in I'm sure some buildings were gone, but like as far as the general, feel of the town, of the agricultural,
right. It's still there.
Village. It's still there.
Yeah.
So they created this other corridor, creating this industry that was there, which is still there. But even look at Norwich Town versus downtown. Norwich Town, the industry went to the river downtown. So you didn't have to have this area, wasn't reinvented
you had
into
natural
row
districts.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting about Norwich specifically, too, there is really great housing stock from the 17th century, 18th century, and 19th century.
Right.
There's beautiful Victorian stuff.
Yep.
Beautiful colonial and pre-colonial.
Yeah. Yep. And I remember I went to when I was an American Studies major back in school, I went to Haverhill, Massachusetts, and they brought us to a field trip there. And the reason was because, like Norwich, you could see all those time periods, as well as some of the urban renewal that took place in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. And when I went there, I said, this is Norwich.
Yeah.
Because it's very similar, but it's very hard to find a town that's not, it has the traces of all of it.
That's
Either
really
you
true.
have a village or a town that's been untouched, but you don't really have all of it in one place.
Yep.
This is what,
Right.
So, and it's also cool because in the state
of Connecticut.
Yeah, you've got the beach, you get mountains if you want to ski.
Yeah.
You got great hiking in the Northwest Hills, in the Northeast part. You have beautiful countryside. It's all in one state.
And you're still only a couple hours from New York City and Boston.
Right. But if you're Rhode Island, beautiful beaches, right? Or beautiful coastal areas, Newport, whatever.
You guys are doing great.
But if you want real, like, to me, at least, like mountains and woods and things like that, you're going up to New Hampshire, you're going up to Vermont, the Berkshires.
Yep.
Where
I mean, you actually climbed the highest mountain in all of Rhode Island.
Jeremiah. So
Jeremiah.
Right. And then with Connecticut, you literally have the northwest corner. You have
all that.
Yeah, you have all of it.
Yeah, you're right. Connecticut's got crazy diversity.
Yeah,
and,
for a small state.
And a metro.
It's so interesting that the Northwest, the Southeast, very different.
Yeah. And metropolitan areas with culture and arts and things like that. Where if you're in New Hampshire, you got Portsmouth, but other than Portsmouth, you might not really have that in there. Where Connecticut still has, pockets. New London, and Norwich to a degree, Willimantic to a degree,
Mystic,
but Mystic definitely in its other, So Hartford, New Haven, etc. It's like,
it feels like each county's its own. Its own little,
it really is, and even like the weather in a state this small, where the Litchfield Hills will have 1.5 feet of snow, we'll have an inch down here.
Yep,
it's like this is a small state.
Has anybody tried the Abomination yet?
Not yet.
To me, that's one of the beers that would have been super popular a couple of years ago, but it is thick and it's.
No, you don't like it?
I like it, but I'm saying it's a big boy. Good night, big boy. He won that toy today at the bowling alley.
Nice job for bowling nothing but gutter balls.
Should we close this one off and do? Want a quicker one?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we'll do a quicker one. Yeah.
You gotta do bad. To make backyard road trips so enjoyable. So that's what we're. So yeah,
This is fun, guys. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Connecticut.
Thank you, Connecticut. So we're leaving our Pro-necticut.
Yep.
I'm Zack.
I'm Jim.
I'm Ken.
And this is the Backyard Road Trips podcast. And who's this?
What's your name?
Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy.